Hey guys, welcome to another mobility session. Today we are diving into a little shoulder work and a little work for the knees. So let's start by finding a comfortable spot. Lying flat on your back, on your mat. Finding a nice relaxing, comfy headspace. Taking some attention to your breathing. Focusing on quality breaths, directing that air deep, feeling those lower ribs expand, feeling that belly rise on the inhale, and letting go of any tension on the exhale. And let's dive into a little body scan, starting with the knees. Just think about relaxing those thighs on the exhale. Letting go of any tension around the hips. Letting the hamstrings get nice and soft. And feeling the knees sink heavy into the mat. And a little heavier each breath. And we'll shift our attention into the shoulders. On the next exhale, imagine your pecs just deflating like a balloon. Letting that tension seep away as you let go of air. Letting go of any tension in the posterior delts, through the traps, relaxing through the head and neck. Focusing on your breath and letting your breath guide you to calm. Let's take one more long, slow, relaxing breath here. And we'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll move our attention into the biceps. So let's take our lacrosse ball and move that left bicep into an overhead position and start working our way through that tissue. So just doing some digging through the bicep, looking for your carrying tension. It might be right in the middle, the belly of the muscle. It might be closer to the insertions. Closer to the shoulder or elbow. Wherever you've got tension, let that be your focus. And once you've got the location, settle into the right amount of pressure. And then center yourself back on your breath. Focus on breathing deep. Directing the air in through the nose. Slowly out through the nose. Just keeping a nice, calm, collective headspace and allowing yourself to enjoy the moment. Now let's take one more long, slow, relaxing breath here. You can sigh out that breath, and we'll take our attention to the right bicep. And we'll start by panning through the muscle, looking for where you're carrying tension. And when you found the right spot, settle into the right angle of tension and pressure. And then the right amount of tension and pressure. And that right amount will really depend on how that muscle's feeling and how it's reacting to that pressure. If we're going so intense with that pressure that things are starting to tense up elsewhere, just back off. Find that right amount of pressure and right amount of tension that allows you to stay calm. And as we get more familiar with this and further along the mobility path, we can apply a higher pressure and still remain calm. But there's a process to getting there. So it'll look a little different for everyone. Settle into the right amount of pressure. It's going to work for you today. And focus back on your breath. Let's take one more quality breath in through the nose. Feel the belly rise. Slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll move into the left trapezius muscle, or left trap. So we're going to focus on the mid to lower trap. So you can access that by lying face up with that lacrosse ball under your trap muscle. And your traps are a pretty big muscle. They're your shrugging muscles. So basically, the large area above and around the inside of your shoulder blade. And if you're not an anatomy person, just let your body's feeling guide you through it. Look for areas of tension in the general area. And what's useful when we find that position is starting to move your arm through an overhead range. That'll help you understand how that muscle behaves when we're in an overhead, which can be a restrictive position. It'll help you feel out how much tension we need and where we need that pressure to relieve the tension in that tissue. And once you're settled into your location and tension and arm position, focus on breath. Nice, calm, relaxing breath. Let's take one more long, slow inhale here. And we'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll switch to the opposite side. So working our way through the right trap. Do some panning in around that muscle. Look for your carrying tension. And again, it can be helpful to move this arm into an overhead position to help you understand how that muscle can be restricting your overhead range. And once we're settled into the location, the pressure, the posture, settle back to your breathing. Try to keep the trap synced to your breath. So as you let go of that air, let that trap area let go of tension. Mentally staying calm. Calm in the body always starts with the mind. So doing best to find peace mentally, staying relaxed, and just enjoying the moment. Keeping your attention on breathing deep. Feeling that belly rise on the inhale. And letting go of all that tension as we exhale. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And take our attention into the left first rib. So we access the first rib in the pocket that sits just on top of your collarbone. So it sits basically between your trap and your collarbone in that little pocket there. And we can access that with a lacrosse ball in against a post or a corner of your room, or just with the fingertips if you don't have a corner. And if you're new to work in this area, just be aware of how that tension is affecting your body. We want the right amount of tension and pressure to let that shoulder free itself up for better movement. And it can take a good amount of pressure, but we don't want to dive into pain. So just be conscious of the right amount of tension that your body needs for today. And over time, as your body starts to build a tolerance, we can apply a little further pressure and get a little deeper release. But if you're new, err on the side of going easy and paying attention to how your body's responding. Let's take one more long, slow, relaxing breath here. Let's slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll take our attention to the opposite side. So digging into that pocket, sitting on top of the right collarbone. Looking for areas of tension. Again, it can be useful to move your arm into an overhead position to help free you up in that position of restriction. Just pay attention to how the body's responding while we're working on it. do some experimenting, finding that right amount of tension to free up that shoulder for better movement. And once you've settled into your right stimulus, taking your attention back to your breath, letting your breath calm that target tissue around the shoulder to free you up for better movement. Mentally staying nice and calm and collective. Relaxing those muscles in your face or any muscle we don't need right now. And keeping your attention on your breath. Let's take one more long, slow, relaxing breath in. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll move into a left side traction. So there's a few options to traction through the shoulder. We can use a band for this. We're just going to demonstrate a child's pose option. So just pinning your left wrist to your mat using your right hand and gently leaning away from that left wrist. And what we're feeling for here is just a gentle tug around the shoulder joint itself, just to decrease some joint pressure and free up those articular surfaces to allow them to move a bit better. If there's any pain here at all, we're going too hard. Just be gentle, be sensitive to how the body's responding. And every chance we get, focusing on that breath. So let's take one more slow, calming breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll switch sides. So moving into the right shoulder, pinning your right wrist to the mat using your left hand and gently leaning away from that right wrist to free up the space. So again, just be conscious of how this is feeling. If you have a history of shoulder instability problems, this may be very sensitive. So just be aware of that and pay attention to what your body needs in terms of stimulus to help free it up for better movement. And if you're new to this, err on the side of going easy. And we can slowly start to get a little more aggressive over time, as long as the body cooperates with us. And let's take one more long, slow, calming, relaxing breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And move ourselves into a seated extension. So if you sit with your hands behind your back, as close together as we can get them, and just slowly shift your hips away from your palms. Fingers should be pointing away from you until you feel a bit of a stretch through the front part of your delts and your pecs into that shoulder extension. And we don't need to go too crazy with force, just find a right amount of tension so we're getting a good pull and stretching sensation through that shoulder. Keeping nice and calm mentally. In a few seconds we'll get active here. So as we get active, imagine shrinking the floor space between your hands and your hips, like you're trying to drag the floor towards your hips. And here we go, starting nice and easy. Gently imagine pulling your hands and hips closer together, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Let's go with big tension for last 5, 3, 2, 1, and let's gently reverse that. Imagine pushing your hands away from your body, forcing a deeper stretch, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Let's add some big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1, big breath out, relax. Get nice and passive. You may find you're a little deeper into the stretch. And if the shoulders are being a little stubborn and we're not any further, that's okay. Just being patient, feeling out what your body needs for a stretch today. Taking your attention back to your breath. Finding a nice, calm, relaxed headspace. Let's take one more breath here. Slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll move into an elevated child's pose stretch. So if you don't have a bench handy, we'll just do the regular child's pose. If you do have a bench handy, we'll put the hands up on the bench or the box and sit back into a bowing position, feeling for a stretch through the armpits, through the pecs, through the lats. Focusing back on your breathing, trying to relax whatever muscles feel tense. Sometimes you can literally feel the muscles that are restricting you. If we can mentally relax into it, we can sometimes find a deeper position in the stretch. But we don't need to force anything, staying nice and calm and relaxed. In a few seconds, we'll gently get active here by pressing your palms down into the bench or the floor if we're flat. And let's go ahead nice and easy, gently resisting the stretch, pressing the palms down, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Let's go with big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1, and let's gently reverse that. Imagine squeezing your upper back muscles, your posterior delts, slowly ramping up tension to pull yourself deeper into that stretch. Let's finish with some good force. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Nice and passive. Finding whatever position feels right. Centering yourself back in your breathing. Nice, calm, collective. Just letting everything slow down. We'll take one more long, slow inhale here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath, and we'll move into a left side single leg saddle. So pulling that left heel up towards your butt, gently leaning back to stretch out through the quad and hip flexor. Taking a second to find a comfortable position for the knee, and we'll lean back into whatever range is pain-free. Nothing too forceful here. Just feel for a stretch through the hip flexor, through the quad. And if you have the mobility for it, you can lean all the way back. This will look a little different for everyone. Just feel out what feels right for you. And when we're there, settling back to your breath. Directing that air deep into lungs. Slowly letting go of tension as we let go of air. In a few seconds, we'll gently get active here. And let's go ahead, gently pressing your foot into the floor to activate the quad. You can grab onto your ankle if you need to for support. Let's slowly ramp up tension as we go. Big tension to finish up. 3, 2, 1, and let's gently reverse that. Imagine pulling your heel actively towards your butt to pull yourself deeper into that stretch. Squeeze through that hamstring. Let's slowly ramp up tension. And big tension to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Get nice and passive through that quad, through the hamstring. Nice relaxed headspace. Finding the position that feels right for today. Focusing on quality breaths. Finding calm mentally. Let's take one more calming breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll switch sides. Pulling that right heel up towards the butt. Let's find that stretch through your right quad, right hip flexor. And if this feels different, significantly different than the other side, there's no need to panic. A lot of us have imbalances that causes the hips to feel different and the legs to feel different side to side. Just find the right amount of stretch that feels right for this side. And if we're feeling good, you can lean back into that stretch, leaning all the way down to the floor if you like. Just letting pain be your guide. We want to stretch, but we don't want pain. Mentally staying nice and relaxed. And in a few seconds, we'll gently get active through that quad. And let's go ahead, starting nice and easy. Again, grabbing onto that ankle for support if you need it, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Let's go with big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1, and gently reverse that. Activate through the hamstring, pull the heel closer to the butt, pull yourself deeper into that stretch, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Fall back into your passive position. Going back to your happy place. Letting those hips settle down. Focusing on your breath. Enjoying those chill vibes. One more breath here. Let's sigh out that breath. And we will call it a day. Thanks for being with us here today in this mobility session. Hope those shoulders and knees are feeling great. And if you liked the video today, don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.